Good evening. My name is Pat Hannon. I am going to be presenting Making Online Courses Interactive, a summary and perspective on the first 6 chapters of e-learning in the 21st century, the book that we've been required to read. And I would like to start off by welcoming everybody. I'd like to welcome both our imaginary and our real participants. And for the purpose of my presentation, I'm going to be using 2 imaginary participants. They are Adam and Barb. Welcome, Adam and Barb. I've gone through and I've done all of my checks to make sure my audio is set and everything else. If everyone else has done that, would you please give me a green check? Okay, looks like everybody's ready, so we're going to go ahead and move in. And what I'd like to start with is we'd like to start, chapter 1 is the introduction. The adoption of e-learning applications accompanied by an increased understanding of how to use them. Okay, and e-learning is described as a community of inquiry independent of time and location through the use of information and communication technology. Okay, I personally grew up in a time frame where it was pretty much brick and mortar. Everybody was in the same classroom, same time each week, same teacher, and it was mostly done by lecture. I've taken quite a few online classes. This is the first one that I've attempted to teach. However, I've learned quite a bit, and it has been quite interesting. It is kind of neat that you can actually do it at different times. A lot of people recorded their stuff yesterday. I'm recording mine tonight. And then, of course, we're in various locations. So it is kind of interesting that we are able to do that. Okay, and moving on, what I want to start off with is I'd like to start off with an icebreaker. And my icebreaker is, in a minute I'm going to ask you to go out to our breakout room, and I'm going to ask you to share your childhood dream. What did you want to be or do when you grew up, and how does it correlate to where you are now? Okay. When you get there, you're going to find a couple boxes. You're going to have your name on top, and I'm going to ask that you go out to the internet, find a picture that would represent what you wanted to be when you grew up, place it in that box, and then in the chat, I would like for you to please put in your comments as to, is this what you wanted to be? What was your childhood dream? What are you now? And do the 2 of them correlate? Okay. So if everyone's ready, let's go ahead and move to our breakout rooms. Okay, looks like everybody's back. Please give me a green check real quick to make sure. All right, everyone is, so we're going to go ahead and move on. And we're going to start talking about the second chapter in our book. Okay, the second chapter is Theoretical Foundations. The information age and network world have forced educators to rethink the educational experience. The philosophical perspective on this is it is recognized of the inseparable relationship between personal meaning and the social influence in shaping the educational transaction. In other words, it takes both what you bring to the table and what the rest of the community brings to the table, your fellow students, the teacher, and it is those 2 things put together that actually help you learn. Okay, and then the next chapter introduces us to the community of inquiry. The community of inquiry, concepts and elements that are believed to provide order and insight into the e-learning experience. And the indicators, or the main areas for this, are social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. And we're going to touch on each one of these in detail. And the first one is social presence. Okay, social presence, there are 3 social presence indicators. It consists of effective communication, open communication, and cohesive communicative responses. Okay, and what I'm going to do real quick now is I'm actually going to take us out and we're going to play a YouTube video. And the gentleman that is going to be talking to us here is a gentleman by the name of Bill Peltz. Okay, let me get this together.
Okay, well, social presence is really where the community concept comes.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Now we're going to go ahead and move into our next parts of our social presence, and the first one is effective communication. It's also referred to as interpersonal communication, conventional or unconventional expressions of emotion, repetitive punctuation, conspicuous capitalization, and emoticons. And I know a lot of you just absolutely love those emoticons. Okay, the second piece is open communication. Open communication, continuing threads, quoting or referring to others' messages, asking questions, complimenting, expressing appreciation or agreement. Okay, and then cohesive responses. Cohesive responses are addressing participants by name, addressing the group as we, us, or our group. Greetings and closures are part of cohesive responses. In other words, it's being a little personal with your classmates, your teacher, so that there is that personal connection along with the educational connection that we have going. The next part is the cognitive presence, okay? Again, we just talked about the social presence. Now we're going to go into the cognitive presence. It provides insight into the cognitive aspects of an e-learning experience and means to assess qualitative or quantitative nature of discourse. Part of this is where you have to have critical thinking. According to Dewey, a reflective or critical thinking has practical value in that it deepens the meaning of our experiences and is therefore a core educational aim. Okay, and again, there are several parts of this. So in the cognitive presence, the very first thing that we look at is a triggering event. Is associated with a conceptualizing a problem or an issue and is considered evocative and inductive by nature. Sorry, I have a little bit of a tongue-tied there. Okay. The triggering event that we had here, the thing that got you thinking about, was when we did the icebreaker. Okay. The next item is exploration. It is the search for relative information and ideas, and it is an inquisitive and divergent process. Some of the ideas of this are some of the different methods of this is brainstorming, offering supportive or contradictory ideas and concepts, soliciting stories, relevant perspective of experiences, and eliciting comments or responses to the value of information or ideas. The next one is integration. The process of constructing a meaningful solution or explanation is considered to be a connection of ideas meeting defined criteria. And our last one is resolution. A resolution critical assesses the viability of a proposed solution through direct and vicarious application. In other words, what you're going to do is you're going to actually experiment with this. You're going to try it out. So once you come up with the concept, once you've explored it, you've integrated a little bit, you're going to try it out through experiment. Okay, and our last presence that we have is now the teaching presence. Teaching presence, notwithstanding the role of the teacher in the community of inquiry framework, all participants contribute to the teaching presence. Some of the indicators are identifying areas of agreement or disagreement, seeking to reach consensus and understanding, encouraging, acknowledging, or reinforcing students' contributions, setting climate for learning, drawing in participants, prompting discussion, assesses the efficiency of the process. Okay, Today what we talked about was the community of inquiry and the three elements: social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. We talked about how to make this was over the book of Making Online Courses Interactive, okay, and the first 6 chapters. Do I have any questions at this time? Okay, if not, I would like to thank everybody for being here today and for your participation. And Adam and Barb, you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next Tuesday. And thank you very much. You are dismissed.